Hamza, let's jump into your book a little bit. So it's called Paperless Builder: The Why, What, and How of Construction Technology.
Yes.
So what made you want to write it? Why now? Right? How long did it take you to write it? What's the main premise of it, and what is your main goal with getting this book out to the
Absolutely. So
world?
I'm if you can't tell yet already, I'm super passionate about this topic. So
I
I'm
love it.
constantly at
Awesome.
conferences, constantly talking to people, connecting with other folks from the Gilbane, Brasfield and Gorey, DPR, Mortensen, McCarthy, you name it, all of them. We connect because we love talking to each other. We love sharing notes, comparing what you did, what worked for you, what didn't work for me, what else are you working on? Because what we're seeing right now is like technology isn't just coming from the tech sector anymore. There are companies like us that we're building
Mhm.
technologies now, right? And we've seen a bunch of stuff that come out of McCarthy and the DPR, and Beck spun a whole other company, Beck Tech. So there's a lot of technologies, and what frustrates me the most is that here I am, 100% overhead for Haskell because they are an awesome company and they spend time and resources invested in having a full-time person just looking at this stuff, mapping it out, seeing what can help us become better. But not everybody else can, right? A
Mhm.
lot of the mid to kind of smaller GCs, subcontractors, vendors, suppliers, you name it, all of these companies, they don't have the resources, right? So to me, it's all about rising tide lifts all ships, right? I can't be better by myself. I can't be better just Haskell, right? Because I have 7 other subcontractors in the field. I have 30 different suppliers that are going to bring materials to the job site. If they're not using the same technologies that we are, what's the point, right? It's like
Yeah.
I'm just you're trying to fit this square peg in a round hole, and it's not going to work. So that's why I really wanted to kind of share my experiences,
Mhm.
right? Just put it out there. Anybody who's interested, I am more than willing and happy to jump on a call and share experiences with anybody who's willing to listen. I'm not just going to talk your ears out if you don't want to. But that's the whole point of the book, right? And I started this journey like early 2022,
Okay.
so it took me a while to finish it up, not knowing that after you finish writing the book, you go to a publisher and they tell you, yeah, it still needs a whole lot more work. I'm
Exactly.
like, I should
Yeah.
have contacted you earlier then.
Yeah.
But this is why the pre-sale campaign right now is that this will help support me through the publishing journey, because what they keep telling me is great books are not written, they are rewritten.
Mm.
Okay, that's a nice way to wrap it and saying that my writing was not
Hmm. Hmm. They're just being nice, right?
great. Yes, but also like part of the feedback that I got that I really really appreciate from the publisher is you are missing context. There's because everything that I wrote is from my perspective, from the
Right.
Haskell perspective. They're telling me we're pretty sure there's different angles at this. So this is why I'm also reaching out to anybody who's willing to kind of also share stories that some of
Yeah.
them might actually make it in the book, right?
Hmm.
From different perspective, from the owner side, from the subcontract, from different GCs,
Yeah.
from utility companies, from anybody that that will help give this content a lot more meat, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us more about the premise of the book. Is it really to help that, like you said, the small to mid-sized companies, like if they open the book, they're able to go, this is how to run a VDC department?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't put it that way.
Okay.
It's not right away. So it starts with the book is the 3 parts, right? As Walker just mentioned, it's like the why, the what, and the how. So the why starts with the problem statements. Why do we even need these technologies, right? What
Mhm.
are the problem statements? There's safety issues, there's quality issues, there's rework, there's
Mm.
communication, there's risk. So I go through that in details and like with some stories that give it context. And then the second part, which is like what technologies are out there that can solve for these problem statements, right? And it's not really naming any specific solutions. It's more like technology types, right? So, for example, you're talking about VDC is like a very low hanging fruit. It's like BIM. What is it? How does it work? How can it help with the communication aspect? And then the third part, which is I think is the crux of the book itself, which is how, right? And I give the framework of builders. So builders is an acronym that goes into like, first you need to baseline, to understand your processes, to map it all out, see where the bottlenecks are. And then users, you need to talk to people. Believe it or not, technologies are nothing without the people that are going to implement them. And then the implementation planning, ensuring that you are aware of what you're trying to implement and the how, right? It's like, how are you going to do it? Who's responsible? Who's going to do that? So that's BYIL is learning. So even though everybody's on the same page, they identified a problem statement, identified a solution, you have an implementation plan, we still need to learn how to use it, right? So the onboarding, the training, the support from the company. D is as a driver, is somebody who is, I used the word enthusiastic, and then I'm talking to people and I'm kind of rethinking that word in itself. I said maybe passionate, somebody who is passionate about, implementing the tech and driving it and championing it, so to say, in order to get it across that finish line. And then the E, which is evaluation, right? So you constantly have to collect feedback from everybody and that's touching that, from everybody that implemented it or is using it, but also collect the data points from the solution that you implemented. And then lastly is the R, which is reporting. Compile all of that stuff in a report that is easily to share. And then the S is optional because it's scaling, right? It's like, is this something that we want to take company-wide, or is it just we tried it on this project and it didn't really work so well, or whatever it is. So scaling is always kind of like an optional. It's something that you want to strive for. That's your goal, right? Is to scale this technology, but only if it works and it matches your infrastructure and security and all that stuff.
Huh. That's really cool. I like how you put that. So because I'm curious now, right? Because I know Haskell does a ton of research and development. I know a few things that y'all have done. They're super cool. And I want to know from your point of view, it coming up in the future, like writing this book, you're seeing all the
Yeah.
different technologies and everything in the world. What's one or two things that you have seen recently that you think are just going to reshape how construction is done in the near future? It doesn't have to be in the next year or two, right? Maybe it's 10 or 20.
Yeah.
But and a side note, right? So off of that, maybe it's something that's already out, because what Davis and I have found is construction kind of lags like 10 years behind most industries, right? As everyone
Yeah.
else is doing something.
But
And
we're catching up.
We are catching up, but then it takes us a little while to implement it because it is a lot of the older generation, not bad thing, right? But that was a way
Right.
that everyone did it this way.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to change because it's hard to change. But now
Yeah.
that you have the new generation coming in, the more technologically advanced generation, things are starting to catch up a little bit. So what is something that you see in the near future that is really going to be a pretty cool, piece of technology to have?
Yeah. So there's the near future, which is within the next 5 years, but then I can also start
Yeah.
projecting like after that. So the near future, something I'm super excited about. And a lot of people disagree with me because they don't see it as something, super valuable. But prediction, in the next 5 years, there's going to be 0 RFIs. Wouldn't that be nice?
That would
Because
be
the
very nice.
design is complete. Because the design is complete. The design has been quality checked. Everything is in it. The specifications are correct. The details are right. You don't need an RFI.
Man,
Right?
I can't
So
wait for that.
I would even be happy with less than 100 because we're at
Yeah.
750 right now.
it's a bold statement, but I stand by it, and I'm sure there's tons of companies that we're talking to right now, very very smart people that are tackling this with an AI perspective. Right? It's like
Oh.
you have a model, great. Let's simulate it. Let's see how actually it has all the information. You don't have a model, that's fine. Give me the drawings. Let me put it through the system. See what information it's lacking. What information doesn't make sense. Like especially like you were talking about, I was talking to MBU today. Jean-Pierre, he's an awesome CEO founder, and he was showing me like one of the drawings is like it had a sloped pipe that between different iterations of the design they changed the slope, or they changed one of the elevation levels that were shown on the drawings, which made the pipe does not connect to the end to the manhole that was supposed to go to. So something like this, like somebody that's looking at the drawing, they're like, yeah, unless if you're actually doing the layout, you'd be like, oh, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, right? Because that point is that elevation, this point is that elevation. The slope doesn't make sense. But the AI was able to just say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense, just from a PDF. So it was extremely exciting to see that. And I'm sure it's only going to exponentially grow from here and develop even further.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
No RFIs would be like
Man, you're
chef's
not gonna
kiss,
need
right?
me at that point. I'm just gonna go home, Walker. I'll let the PMs just take over. Man, I would love that.
That's the farther future, right? So the farther future is talking about like 20 years maybe is robots. Robots are actually going to do most of the work. And when you say robots, these are not like your regular humanoids or dog robots or any of those. Like every task is going to have a specific robot that is super efficient into doing that specific task and that task only. So you can be switching out robots here and there. And anyway, we'll get one day, hopefully. I don't know. We'll see.
So
it's kind of scary world.
I agree with part of that. I think, I think there's some jobs that you probably won't be able to replace with robots, but I do think that they will help make people's lives easier. One thing that I've seen technology make a lot easier, I've seen it on this project specifically, because our drywall sub started using it, but initially is robotic layout. But what's cool is I've never seen it done this way, right? But essentially you just go to the iPad and you tap the corners of each wall, and the robot just shines a little light at the corner where the wall goes, and then you just mark it, and then you go to the next one, and then you connect the dots. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. And then they also have they do have the robots. They're pretty expensive, right? They're like $500,000.
Dusty Robotics, there's Rugged Robotics, there's HP Site Print. They're all just now printing lines.
You just let it roll overnight, and then you come back and your walls are already down. So I see which direction you're going.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% convinced that it will be all robots, but I do agree that it will be a very large part of construction, and it will help. It will help make people's lives easier. Go on.
Going back to your earlier point, Walker, about if VDC can work remotely, imagine in the next 10 years, a skilled worker, like either a welder, pipe fitter, facade installer, whoever it is, they'll be able to work remotely too. Because if you set up the
operating
station,
the robot,
you're operating the robot. You put in the goggles, you're seeing what the robot is seeing, and you're controlling it. And it's very precise measurement, and you can be doing your work from home.
That's crazy.
I was trying to find a guy. Dang it. I was so upset. There's a gentleman from China, Walker, that I want to get on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's in the CMU robotics world.
Okay.
He actually invented something that literally lays block. It's not a robot. It's like, if you could think of something 10 foot wide. You've seen the paver system that lays brick down for like paver system, but he's literally built a robot and he's testing it at a Chinese college, and has his own company, has his own CMU company in China. I would love to get him on, because stuff like that to me is fascinating, because I'm like, okay, well, my perspective, right, the field side is, all right, slab's got to be flat. There's got to be nothing in his way. He's literally using this thing inside of a building or in a parking deck, and he's learned ways to like help lay block. And I'd like, to me, that is absolutely fascinating, because one, that like the safety hazards involved working inside an active building, to be able to go put a robot up there and do it, to me, just mind-boggling. But
Helty came up with JBot, which does the overhead drilling.
Yep.
So you're not having to go up and do all of that. You just give it all the points from the model. But this is where I go back to the foundation. If you have the model, you can do all of these different things, right? You just feed it the model with all the points, and the robot will just go in and drill all the holes, and somebody behind the robot can just put in all the hangers.
That's cool.
So we had a guy on, I had to go back on it, but he made we need to follow up with him and see how it's doing. He has a drone that ties rebar
Johan.
And so,
Yes.
yeah, that's right.
Johan
Sky
George.
Mule.
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
from
Sky
Georgia
Mule,
Tech.
okay, yeah, I figured you probably
Yeah,
know
from
who that
Georgia
is.
Tech. They have pivoted since.
Have
Yeah.
they?
So now they're
Okay.
using a robot dog rather than a drone.
Oh,
It makes a little bit more sense.
okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's cool. And then
Yeah.
even small technological advances that do require man to make, like I have used this on the job site, but like the drill type rebar tying device, right? You just put
Yeah.
it down and you pull the trigger and you pull it back out. Yeah, the old
Yeah.
guys on the job site might make fun of you because they're like, "Oh yeah, you're doing it the weak man's way." But it's fun, but it's quick,
Yeah.
right? You just
You
go
you
down,
go you go you go have fun over there breaking your back.
right?
That's not for me. I'll do it the smart way.
Even just small things like that are incredible,
Yeah,
incredible.
absolutely.
So I know we're getting towards the end and we'll value your time. So what is pitch something? Maybe you can't. I don't know. I don't know how strict Haskell is. So what's something that y'all have in Disrupt Tech that y'all have recently come out with or recently developed that you maybe implemented on the job site or that has started making y'all's job at Haskell a little bit easier?
We recently developed precogs with Via
Okay.
Technic. Via Technic is a big company that does VDC services. They also do some development. And we co-developed precogs. Precogs, if you've seen Minority Report, Tom Cruise, they predict the future, right? They try to predict what's going to happen. So we built this platform that ingests all lessons learned from all these different projects. So all you need to do is like, at the end of the project, instead of compiling your lessons learned on an Excel sheet, just put them in precogs, right? And you can be doing that throughout the project. You don't have to wait until the end of the project. Whenever you encounter an issue or a success, you put it in as a lesson learned, whether it's something that's good or something that's bad, right? We compile all of that, and now we have an AI layer on top of that. That next project, we can say, here's the type, size, location, and it shows you what might go wrong or what are these different lessons
That's
learned
cool.
that might be relevant to this project. So we're not repeating mistakes, right? I find that extremely fascinating, and we're just starting to roll it out. We're starting to see some value from it, but now it's available to the market. So if you go to Via Technic,
Wow.
you can actually, you look at precogs and they'll help you set up a demo.
Cool. I like it.
Cool.
I would say that my superintendent would say that he's a precog, but that we'll argue about that later, right? But Hamza,
Yeah.
thank you for your time, man. I don't know if we want to start continuing the guitar playing right now, but
Oh yeah, you want some?
yeah, I mean, hey, I would love it. But I mean, I appreciate your time. It's been pretty cool to he's gonna get it.
I'm gonna do it.
Dude, give
If
us
you
a little
want me to do
something real
it,
quick.
what do you want to hear?
Sweet Home Alabama.
Oh no, I don't know that one. I'm more like a old school, like
Oh, you already got me. I'm in.
There you go. That's pretty good.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's really good.
What
You are
song
the
you
first
got?
person to play the guitar on the podcast, so
There you go.
congratulations.
That's right.
I think this is the first time I do it on any podcast too.
There you go. There you go. We got a man of many hats. I love it. But
thank you guys so much. I appreciate you hosting me, and I looking forward to listening
Well, we got
to
two
more of your.
questions for you first. So
Oh, okay, let's do it.
So the wind down, these are questions me and Walker always ask. They're tailored toward the younger generation. And so my question to you is, if you were to encourage someone to come into the industry, what are some qualities you think that individual should have?
Qualities is problem solving. So if you are just always trying to find a creative solution to any problem you're facing, and this doesn't have to be like construction specific, right? Any problem. Like you go out and you kind of, there's traffic in the way. What do you do, right? How do you problem solve? So I think that's a skill that not everybody have. A lot of people are like, oh man, I'm stuck here. So now I'm just gonna have to work my way around it or wait it out. So problem solving is one of the main characteristics that I would think, being in construction is a must.
that's a good one. So you obviously done a lot, right? You've had a very successful career, and with more success coming forward as well. So if you could go and look back and you could start over again, right? You go to your 20-year-old self and tell them, "Hey, I wish I did this." What do you wish you could say to your younger self, right? With the knowledge and wisdom that you know now.
Oh, that's a much tougher one. That's not fair. Um,
On the spot.
I honestly, so here, this is going to be one of, you might call it tap around or dance around or
No,
whatever.
no, go for it.
Is I wouldn't change a thing. I would say march on. Things are going to be all right, and just keep going. Just figure it out. Because to me, if I knew, like my 20-year-old me, that I'm going to be here today, it might not be as exciting. Like, oh, okay, that's cool, but yeah, you know what I mean? It's like it's all about the journey. It's never about the destination.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
just march on. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about
Hmm.
I love it. Well, Hamzah, thank you so much for coming on. This was fantastic. I learned a lot. I'm
it.
looking
Thank you.
forward to learning a lot more from you in the near
Hmm.
future. Excited about your book and what the construction technology globe has in store for everyone, right? So thank you so
Yeah,
much
I'm a
again.
big
Where
hands
can
guy.
yeah, big hands guy. Where can people find you and learn
Hmm.
more about you? Where can they buy your book? We'll put it in the
LinkedIn.
show notes as well.
Yeah, I'm very big on LinkedIn. So just look up Hamza Shanbari. I'm the only one. I guarantee you that. And connect with me. More than happy to chat,
Yeah.
to jump on a call. Just hit me up.
Cool.
Can they buy your book there as well?
Yes, I mean I have links everywhere.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much.
I
We truly
appreciate it. Thank you
appreciate
guys
it.
so much.
Yeah.